In today's transfer plans video, we're going to consider what to do if you own players like Rico Lewis, Gabriel and Mbeumo, and also take a look at some of the players I'm looking forward to bringing into my FPL team in the next few weeks of the season. So let's jump into another Fantasy Premier League video. Now, I always like to start off these transfer plans video with a little review on how we did in the previous game week. And as you can see here, this isn't my normal FPL team. This was a free hit team that I did for game week 15. I had Trent out, I had Mo Salah out. Obviously, the Everton game got postponed. My bench was very, very weak, and I didn't have a full 11 of starting players. So I thought, why not free hit? Let's go a bit differential, go for Haaland, go for Watkins with the great Southampton at home fixture. Let's see if we can chase some rank up in this week. So a week where normally people wouldn't free hit. So we did it, didn't pay off, doesn't really matter too much. I had great fun building this free hit on the deadline stream. I thought Watkins would be a great shout this week. Really didn't expect him to get benched. I expected Morgan Rogers to get benched in all honesty. But turns out Watkins got benched, Duran played, Duran scored. Haaland, I thought would be a decent captaincy shout against Crystal Palace away from home. 2-2 in that fixture. Of course, we expected City to maybe concede some goals in this game, but not on the manner they did. And I expected Haaland to do a lot better this game week. And of course, Cole Palmer doing Cole Palmer things. That Panenka penalty, just unbelievable. He is definitely cold and probably one of the best players in the Premier League right now. Probably the best captaincy shout this game week for sure. And I didn't captain my captain to Erling Haaland. The rest of the squad blanking, so not too much to really talk about. And of course, this isn't my normal FPL team. We're going to have a look at that and how I'm going to deal with the transfers going forward into game week 16. But yeah, not a great week, floating around a similar rank of how we left off in game week 14. But hey ho, I had fun making it. Let's have a look at how I'm planning to move forward my actual FPL team in game week 16 now. Now, of course, you can see straight away with my actual FPL team, there are some issues that I need to deal with. The likes of Lewis, Gabriel, Mbeumo, what do we do with them? How do we play around these players? Because I know a lot of people own the likes of Gabriel and Mbeumo, and even Rico Lewis at this point has somewhat of a decent ownership basis. I suppose we'll start off with Rico Lewis. Of course, the red card is a result of 2 yellows. The second yellow, I personally didn't think is a yellow card. It's in fact the Crystal Palace player that makes contact with Rico Lewis first. Who knows? You could look at it a different way. I seen it as not a yellow card offence. I don't think he should have been sent off. But regardless of that, Rico Lewis from 18, 19 and 20 is pretty decent. I like the fixtures. Even the Brentford and Ipswich fixtures after that are pretty nice. Both away, which aren't fantastic. But he looked okay to keep a hold of. For me now, I think I'm going to have to sell him in my particular FPL team. The reason for that is because obviously you've got Robinson there. He plays Liverpool away from home. What are the chances that Fulham go to Anfield and get a clean sheet? Very, very slim, of course. And I don't think he's as attacking to keep him in that team for that reason. For example, Tottenham away for Trent next game week is a fixture I know he's probably not going to get a clean sheet for, but I'm more than happy playing him in that fixture because of his attacking potential. I can't say the same thing with Robinson of Fulham. When we speak about possible players that could come in for Rico Lewis, in my particular case, I want someone with decent long-term fixtures, someone who's attacking and probably cheap. I want to get some money in the bank to make it possible to move to Nicholas Jackson once he either serves a suspension or I think it's the right time to bring him in. You're kind of looking more towards, for me, Everton and Fulham to bring Nicholas Jackson in and go double Chelsea. But yeah, who am I planning to bring in this particular week for Rico Lewis? There's obviously a few options here suggested by Fantasy Football Hub. You've got Gomez, Gusto, and Nori. I don't particularly like any of those options. Who I do like the most, and I spoke about, of course, last game week, is Kirkes of Bournemouth. I think he rotates fantastically with Robinson and offers some really great fixtures going into the next few weeks of FPL. You've got West Ham there, you've got Crystal Palace, you've got Fulham, you've got Everton. When we look at Robinson, it's kind of the opposite in terms of fixture position here because you've got Southampton in 17 when Kirkes has Man United. You've got Bournemouth, you've got Ipswich, you've got West Ham, you've got Leicester, you've got a lot of usability coming up for Robinson in the next few weeks, and Kirkes rotates really nice with them. So having that option of Kirkes on the bench to rotate in and out with Robinson when the fixtures are good, for me, is a really great way that I want to play FPL in the next few weeks of the game. So, to be honest, I think that's my number one transfer that I'd like to make this game week. When it comes to Gabriel, there is an option potentially where I take a -4, not to get rid of Gabriel though, to get rid of someone like Vandenberg on the bench, to get another usable player within my FPL team. It could be the case that I don't take a -4 and just play Robinson and just go, do you know what, screw it, I don't want to take a hit yet again, let's just play and see what happens. But the two fixtures of Vandenberg and Robinson there really aren't fantastic. The situation with Gabriel is the fixtures look pretty decent. They always look decent for Arsenal. A great defensive team, of course. Sadly, didn't come away with the result they wanted against Fulham, but I feel as though in the next few fixtures, they do have a decent chance of a clean sheet. So do I really want to be getting rid of my Arsenal defender there? I don't think I do. If he plays midweek in the Champions League, of course, that's a great indication that he's back and ready to play for Arsenal. Even if he's on the bench in that fixture, actually, I have to add, is a great sign for Gabriel. What, for me, I have to understand is if he isn't in that squad, there is a very strong possibility that he isn't going to be available for the Everton game. And it's obviously the case that Arteta never really gives us the information we need to decide about Arsenal players. Of course, we've all went through the problems with Saka. Is Saka going to play in the last few weeks? Obviously, he had that injury point where we didn't know if he was going to play. Normally, he does play at the end of the day, and I suppose we've learned that about Arteta. But yeah, we'll kind of have to just assess on Gabriel at the moment. So I can't really say too much about replacements for Gabriel or anything like that, because I just don't know, really. I was going to say I think he's going to be okay. I actually don't know. He's been absent for 2 Premier League games here. That could be a real issue. It could be arresting. I really don't know what to do with Gabriel at the moment. So I suppose we've just got to assess midweek with that Champions League fixture. Mbeumo. What on earth is going on with Mbeumo? How can you have one shot in 5 game weeks and then come out with a goal and assist against a Newcastle team who just drew against Liverpool? It doesn't really make sense, but that's FPL. It just happens. Things like this happen all the time in FPL, and you just live and learn. Still, though, the fixtures that Mbeumo has coming up aren't great. They really aren't great at all. Yes, he's a great FPL asset in the sense he normally plays 90 minutes. He's on penalties, and he normally offers great data, which he did actually in the last fixture where he got his goal and assist against Newcastle. In the previous 5 game weeks, not so much. So what do you really do with Mbeumo? Personally, for me, with one free transfer, I would rather spend that on Rico Lewis out, Kirkes in. When it comes to Mbeumo, is it really worth taking a -4 to take out someone like Mbeumo at the moment? No, and I think not the last week, but the week before, I had the opportunity to take a -4 to get Mbeumo out and get someone like Semenyo or someone around that price point into my FPL team. And I didn't take it because I didn't think it was worth the -4. I still don't think this week it's worth the -4 either. If I was to keep him for Chelsea away, the chances are I'd probably keep him for Forest at home. Brighton away could be the trigger point where I sell him. It's just at the moment, I don't know. It's hard to decide what to do with Mbeumo now because of his goal and assist he's just scored at home. Where do we go from here? I mean, there's some options out there like Semenyo, who I think, similar to Kirkes, has good fixtures coming up, who, you know, is someone whose data actually quite like Semenyo in the grand scheme of things, takes a lot of shots, gets involved, very direct when he has the ball at his feet. But for me, from -4, my particular FPL team right now, I don't think I'm even going to bother selling Mbeumo. It was really if the Liverpool game wasn't postponed in game week 15, it was very, very likely that Semenyo was leaving and Mbeumo was leaving and Semenyo was going to come into my team. Now I'm not going to do that move. I think I'm just going to do the Kirkes transfer. So let's have a look in the future weeks of how I could really play this game, because as I mentioned, the Robinson rotation with Kirkes, absolutely fantastic. I love that combination, and you can see it in action straight away in game week 17. In this week as well, Morgan Rodgers' fixtures do turn. You've got Man City at home. Of course, you may think, that's not a great fixture. It's not too bad when you think about how bad Man City have actually been. So potentially a week where you could even keep Rodgers at that point. And I don't think there's many real assets you could move towards from that position. I do have to mention one player in Enzo Fernandez. Why is it not coming up? Because I'm on bloody defenders. Yeah, Enzo from Chelsea could be an option there. I think if you're looking for an enabler player, the likes of Amad Diallo and Enzo are really top of my list here. Personally, I don't really like Enzo too much as an FPL asset. He's going to have to offer a lot more and over a more consistent basis for me to consider him. That may sound silly after he's got so many attack and returns recently, but I feel as though he's not going to be a real FPL asset anytime soon. And of course, he may prove me wrong. I just still think the likes of Rodgers, Emile Smith-Rowe, Semenyo, it feels like a sideways transfer. It feels like you're just going to a similar type of play at the similar type of price point, but the Chelsea fixtures do look really, really nice. But for me, Rodgers with City at home isn't actually too bad of a fixture with how bad City have been defensively. They are really, really shocking. I mean, if Kyle Walker's playing, there's a free goal, Aston Villa. He's been absolutely dreadful. He needs to go in that Man City side 100%. Of course, I don't know why it's just refreshed there. Let's put Kirkes back in and have a little look at game week 18 before we move on to the outro of the video. But yeah, Kirkes obviously would come in game week 16, Robinson on the bench, and then it comes again, Robinson in, Kirkes on the bench. Game week 18, another week where I could probably roll the transfer. I don't think there's too much that I would change around with the team here. And Mbeumo, this could be the week that I possibly sell him, but looking at Southampton away on the horizon there for Mbeumo is a real temptation to keep him at that point. So I think rolling at that point could be decent. Comes to 19, again, there's not a lot I would change within this team. Maybe the rotation of Robinson again would come into play. Obviously, Mbeumo does play Arsenal this week, not fantastic. Maybe a transfer at that point, but I still would feel pretty much comfortable either just getting rid of Mbeumo in this week or just keeping him for that Southampton away fixture in game week 20. When we get to game week 20, I personally think it could be a week I look to transition back into Erling Haaland if City are performing again. I don't think there will be, so I think this is going to be my team. It could be the case as well in game week 18 that Cunha leaves the side. I'm not sure who I would go to. Perhaps Nicholas Jackson at that point. But yeah, I am blabbering on a little bit now. I'll slow things down. But yeah, there are a lot of free transfers that are going to be rolled in the next few weeks for my FPL team. As long as the likes of Gabriel and Mbeumo, there isn't real issues to deal with there. But overall, that's my rough transfer plans going forward in the next few weeks of FPL. A little bit boring, not too exciting. No -4s, no Mbeumo leaving the side. Just a straightforward transfer. Rico Lewis out, Kirkes in is my most likely outcome for game week 16 this game week. To outro my videos, I'd like to give you guys at home a big thank you for supporting the FPL Mugs YouTube channel. Of course, if you have enjoyed today's video, make sure you drop a like, and if you aren't yet subscribed, subscribe to the FPL Mugs YouTube channel for weekly FPL content and deadline streams. But that is everything for today's video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.